I arrived in New York City on a Friday at 4 o'clock, scared to death with 3 bats in my little briefcase, my glove. I didn't have a uniform. I didn't have a hat. Leo said to me, son, as long as I'm manager, you are my center fielder. You do not have to hit. Just go out and catch the ball. And from those words from Leo DeRoche, I think, gave me a little courage. And I went on from there.
My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. It has been a pretty tough road trip for our beloved Mariners. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our live listeners on either Twitch or YouTube Live. But of course, as all baseball fans have probably known this week, my oh my, one of the great men in baseball and arguably the greatest player to ever lace up the cleats and step onto a diamond, the legendary Willie Mays passed away earlier this week. I want to give a huge shout out to our super producer, Indy, out in Tennessee. He is the one that put together that incredible tribute video to start the show for the legendary Say Hey Kid. Thank you so much. And of course, I want to give a major shout out and introduction to my amazing co host who brings it hotter than an Albuquerque summer. What's up, RG?
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I'm the ballad in the box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow to let you know to call your brother son. A promise of what's to come, a story that's just begun, and I'ma remain a soldier until the war is won. Shout out to the legend, number 24, one of the best to ever do it, Willie Howard Mays Jr. It's time to go to work.
And that's what we do every time, bro. We could probably go on for hours about the legendary Say Hey Kid, Mr. Willie Mays, but we'll keep it a little bit shorter because we could take up 3 episodes talking about this guy. But just for starters, in my personal life, I know RG knows this well, but easily my dad's favorite baseball player growing up was Willie Mays. And so growing up in Western Washington, I know it was awesome for him to see the second coming of the Say Hey Kid in Ken Griffey Jr. So he never got to see Willie live, but we went and saw Griffey many a times. But just hearing about Willie Mays, man, you could speak more on it, RG, but he is instrumental in the civil rights sports movement, considering he got his first start in the Negro Leagues before he made it to the bigs. But what an incredible man, what an incredible career. Speak on this wonderful legend.
For those of us that are 35 and up, talking to the older crowd here, he is your favorite player's favorite player. Everyone wanted, excuse me, everyone wanted to be like Willie. There's a time where baseball is the most popular sport in America, and it is dominating the way that football is now. At the time that baseball is at its all time height in the United States, Willie Mays is that guy. Willie Mays is the one that everyone's turning into. He's the one with the athletic gifts. He's the one with the power. He's the one that's must see TV. For a generation, man, it all goes back to the things that Willie was doing on and off the field. And man, just shh, can't say enough about the guy. It's funny that the Cubs are on Sunday Night Baseball tonight. In his career, Willie Mays hit over 90 home runs against the Cubs, and 54 of them were at Wrigley Field. So you were
Wow.
always going to get your money's worth whenever you knew that Willie Mays to say, "Hey kid" was coming to town. As we continue, we want to give a shout out to those of you who are already rocking with us in the live chat tonight. Texas Power Ranger, Mariners Lifer. Mariners Lifer throws up RIP Buck. Man, I'm telling you, dude, it was a sad week. It was a sad week, but it can't be sad in like looking at it like a tragedy because the man lived to be 93 years old. It really is a celebration of the goodwill that he brought to his life. For those of you who watch Sports Center on ESPN, Stanford Steve talks about how he lived in the neighborhood that Willie Mays lived in. And for Halloween, Willie Mays isn't giving out candy, he's giving out autographed baseballs. How amazing is that?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. One thing, or there's a few things I'd like to add. One of them would definitely be that Willie Mays was drafted to the Negro Leagues at 17. He signed with the New York Giants at 19 or 20. But importantly, he was a stud at the age of 20 in the major leagues in 1951. But he was also drafted to the Korean War in 1952, where he served the country for most of the 1952 season. He missed all of the 1953 season. This is no shade thrown at all right here, but I feel that Ted Williams, his story about leaving for the Air Force, is much more commonly known than Willie Mays, perhaps. So I just want everyone to know that Willie Mays was another legendary baseball player whose stats would have been even crazier and more historic if he had not been drafted to serve his country. So thank you, Willie, for that. Sometimes other people say it better than you can, and I just wrote down a few quotes here, RG. Ken Griffey Jr. so eloquently called him the godfather of center fielders recently. I love that one. Ted Williams said that they invented the All Star game for Willie Mays. And then there is an American actress from back in that time period, Tallulah Bankhead, said that there have only been two geniuses in the world, and that's Willie Mays and Willie Shakespeare. People from all walks of life showing mad love in all different time periods because Tallulah Bankhead passed away in the 60s. So she was saying this way back when, and then we got Griffey saying this now. So people of all eras and all walks of life recognizing how special that person was.
Absolutely, man. Just the greatest thing that you could look back on your life is how other people recommend you and show up for you in times of turmoil, in times of trouble. And there's to a baseball fan, there's no other man you'd rather stay in that foxhole with Willie Mays. Shout out to him and to Ted Williams as well for making that sacrifice to go serve their country in the height of their playing careers. Granted, baseball contracts back in those days are nothing like the astronomical figures that they are today. So those guys had to go out, make a living, and survive, and also do what was right at the time and go step up when your country needed you. And to all the servicemen and women who have paid that ultimate sacrifice, we salute you. We couldn't be here today without you. And to know that icons of sports back in those days also responded to that civic duty to go defend the red, white, and blue whenever they were called upon. It's just something amazing, man. It seems that we've lost the connection here with the homie Ty. Sunday evening media. Do I have to watch the stream back later on to see the tribute video, or will it be on social medias? It will be on our social medias within the next couple coming hours, the next couple of days. If you want to wait until the stream is over and the episode is actually broadcasted back on, you could definitely catch us there as well too. Amazing video put together by Vaden Podcast Services and our super producer Indy. Do I have you back, Ty? It seems that still having a little bit of a difficulty trying to get Ty connected here. We are going to get into the week that was in Mariner baseball. We went on a road trip, went to go hit three cities, started up in Cleveland, and man, just whew, a lot of frustration today running through the veins of Mariner Nation. But we're here to talk about it. We're here to let you vent. We give a power shout out to everybody who's rocking with us online. Vaden Podcast Services presents My Oh My. It's another sports podcast. Let's go on ahead and get into it a little bit while we're waiting for Ty to get everything figured out with his microphone there at his studio up in Seattle. Like I said, once again, we started off the week, headed up to Cleveland on Tuesday, had a fun game with the Guardians where the Mariners pulled out the victory 8-5. 8-5, we defeated the Cleveland Guardians to kind of bridge that gap between them and us in the second place that they hold over us in the current standings to see if we could get into the second round of the playoffs and not have to play that wild card. And then the devil came back for his due. They put us on Wednesday night, 8-0. Came back and gave it to us again on Thursday, losing 3-6. Then we headed on down to the city that never seems to sleep down there in the South, where all your dreams could come true if you got a white suit willing to dress like John Johnson, baby. Man, the city of Miami. We got off the plane in Miami and then left our righteous minds with us, and they put it on us, gave us a good little spanking. The kid can to continue to bring us back down to earth. 2-3. We found the offense, pulled out the whipping sticks, and gave them boys a business on Saturday, handing it to them 9-0. And then today with Bryce Miller on the mound, who Mariner fans have a lot of hope in. Bryce Miller actually got worked today. It was a little frustrating to watch him out there, not with his best stuff. They jumped on us early to a 6-0 lead. We did battle back to make the game a little bit more competitive, but in the end, it was the Miami Marlins who ended up getting the series sweep over us with their victory 4-6 down there in Miami. Mariners lifer, man, I feel you after Marlins, dog. But they got two of them things that we don't know nothing about, and we are chasing to have what they have as a franchise overall. That's that elusive trip to the World Series, and as well as those World Series rings. Logan Gilbert, the LOG, the OG. To me, he's the ace of our pitching staff, had a dominant game. Dominant game. 8 innings, 8 strikeouts. Looked like he's supposed to be. The moment's never too big for him. As Tyler likes to say, he comes out there with piss and vinegar. He knows he's the man. He's got that shit you can't fuck with. And just came out and did what he had to. Just dominate. Just dominate what he did. Just dominate what he did. Miller didn't look good today. Miller didn't look good today, but he is young. He will have a chance to bounce back. It's baseball, dog. You ain't gonna go out and dominate every single game, or else everybody be in the Hall of Fame. But for Miller, for being as young as he is, we're still confident in this stuff. We're still confident in this stuff. He'll get another chance. He'll see another day. Mariners Life for Live in the chat says, I want to say a bigger F you to the Mariners fans that are hating on him. He has one less quality start than Kirby. Name a better four-starter. Hey, man, facts is in the pudding, dog. Miller's been consistent for us. And, you're due a bad day. Sometimes offense just happens to take over, and there's nothing you could do to stop the bleeding. Found the plate a little bit too much today. Uh, but again, that's just baseball, and things like that seem to happen. Um, Texas Power Rangers probably through the moon right now because he got Scherzer back today, and they got a win going to. Yeah, I know. Rangers fans saying our pitch is trash Sunday evening media. I hear you, man. He is sipping on that scissor, but again, he did get Scherzer back today, and they've won. And Houston and Texas are slowly closing that gap. I believe that the stat that's been floating through social media today is that in the last 10 days we've lost 40% of the lead that we had in the AL West, and you knew it was going to get a little bit close to think that we were just going to run away with it. I didn't think that we were going to be in a position to be able to do something like that. But again, the team is built the way that it is. We are suffering through some injuries right now. Every team is suffering through some injuries. We'll see who will get back. And the most important thing for us in Mariner Nation is to see if our ownership is actually going to do what's necessary to be able to get us over the hump, to get us some pieces as we make this press towards the pennant. Houston is a Houston is a well versed team. They've been through the fire. Rangers just came through the fire last year. Being able to get it done and get it in is our turn to have to fight off that battle that they're going to give us as we get down the stretch here coming after the All-Star break. And hey, man, it's going to make for good baseball. It's going to make for good TV. Again, we appreciate each and every one of you always being with us live each and every week. For my oh my, it's another sports podcast. We are coming to you live on YouTube, coming to you live on Twitch. Be sure to follow us using the at my oh my ASAP. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Follow us, holler at us, check us in our DMs. You can also catch the recording coming live each and every week or wherever you get your favorite podcast from. I prefer Apple Music. Go on ahead, rate us, like us, give us some stars. Thank you all for rocking with us. This is the People Show. We try to be as interactive as we can. So, the big thing is we obviously are going to need a bet. That always comes up anytime that we have a series or a couple series that goes like this, where the office at time can look anemic. We're always going to need a bet. We're always going to need a bet. Knowing the way that ownership has handcuffed Jerry and Justin to be able to do what it is that you do, who do you think that we should be able to go out and go get? I try my best not to get involved in those because those are math I don't understand. And if I did understand, I'd have a job in the front office in Seattle. I have my ideas on who I think would be nice. I have my ideas on who I think we should absolutely stay away from. Vlad for Emerson and Cole Young, according to the homie Mariners for Lifer. That would be an interesting choice. So do we go after someone who's going to be just a 1 year rental, or sorry, not even a 1 year, a now from October to one night stand, where we know that it is that you want from them. You're gonna get that money out of us when we get to October. We'll see how many games we can win to Gary's deep into October. After that's happened, do we go our separate ways? Do we look to run it back? I know that that happens to be important to a lot of Mariner fans. I know a lot of Mariner fans also don't want to give up anybody in the farm system just to be able to go out and rent someone just for a couple months to see if they can get us over the hump. Again, those decisions aren't really made up to us. I think that with the strength of our farm system, we should have some pieces we should be able to move and push those chips in and just go for it. But again, that's my personal opinion. I'm always open for debate. You can tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right on that. But for real, I just think that we're in a position where we should go out and make the moves necessary to secure this division title, see if we can win enough games to close the gap between us and Cleveland, and go out and get the playoff hell. We do well against elite teams with elite pitching staffs. Now, again, that's the Yankees without Garrett Cole. But we'll get a chance to meet up with them again. For those of you who've been Mariner fans as long as I have, it just wouldn't feel the same if we didn't get in the playoffs and had a chance to stick it to the evil empire. Sunday evening media rocking with us says we have France and Lonk at first base. We need help elsewhere. I think so too. Now Polanco did look good in his rehab starts. He did go yard a couple of times. Saw some people saying we need to not wait and just bring him up since he happens to be hot. Does that really translate though? Does being hot against non-major league pitchers mean that once we do bring you back, you're going to be hot against guys who are major league pitchers? That nuance is kind of crazy, y'all. But again, you tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you think. We live here each and every Sunday night. My oh my. It's another sports podcast. Still waiting for the homie Tyler to get his issues worked out. You know, the show isn't the same without him. Shout out to our super producer, Indy, out here rocking. We just taking the punches, going with the flows. That happens sometimes when you go live. But again, we appreciate each and every one of you that's rocking with us. Y'all have a future stud in Bliss, man. Ryan Bliss, dog. Ryan Bliss, man, look good out there. Look good. He may make it tough for Polanco. He may really make it tough for Polanco. We'll have some decisions to be made. But I think that as he grows and matures, the young core of our team, outside of what we look at from Castillo, what we expect from Julio since we paid him, what we expect from Cal, I think that the young guys might come in here and be able to make some noise. Locklear is just shows that he's not afraid. Bliss is really starting to come around. We got some studs down there on the minor league side who might be able to come in and make some noise. You got a guy like Demo who for a couple weeks was carrying the offense with the way that he was performing and looking as good as he was. You know, just a chance to let these guys see more innings, let these guys see more at bats, let these guys see more pitching, then be able to handle pressure the way that it comes through. Mariner Lifer says, I love Bliss, especially on defense. He is so fast. Think about the possibility of having someone like Bliss's speed and then someone with like Clase speed being able, they can run down almost anything that's hit. You know, the future does look bright for us, but we can't just get something for nothing. We are going to have to let go of someone in order to be able to gain someone. And that's what the $1 million question is. What is it that we're willing to part with in order to be able to get what it is that we need to be able to get us into the playoffs and the American League Championship Series. A look here at the upcoming schedule. We're going to head that short trip from Miami into Tampa. Got a 3 game set against Tampa. Then we'll come home for some home cooking over the weekend, over next weekend against the Minnesota Twins. Baltimore Orioles coming into town. And for someone who doesn't live in Seattle, I now have a huge appreciation on what this rivalry means every time it takes place at T-Mobile Park. Those Blue Jays coming to town right after the 4th of July, and we need to run them right back up to Canada with 3 straight losses. So the schedule is going to get a little tough. We are going to get to see where are at against some teams that are playing well. Baltimore, man, Gunnar Henderson's, I think he hates us, dog. That dude hits so well against us. And the way that their offense just is built and the way that they take their bats, I like what the young Orioles are out there built of. But at the same time, man, I think that we could do some of the same things in order to be able to compete with someone like them. What always is interesting to me is to look at the standings and kind of see where it is where we are in the American League West compared to if we were playing in another division right now. We'd be in battles, dog. We would definitely be in some battles. And our pitching staff, to me, is the heart and soul of what we are. It would be nice if we could get a couple bats to come around because we can't just rely on those young stats with those young arms just to carry us the whole way through. We need to be able to bring something more to the table than just our pitching staff. Julio having a down year just I don't know, man. I think it was meant to be expected. Just you can't stay that hot forever. And will be nice to see what it is he's going to turn into once we get over the hump and turn it around. The captain Kyle Raleigh has proved to be clutch in certain situations when we need him. JP was attacking the first pitch and had a pretty good week. Let's get Polanco back. I know most of us the frustrating thing is the twin Mitches that we really expected to be able to get more out of Mitch one and Mitch two. And I know a lot of people are frustrated with where we're at with the Mitches, but again, we just got to give these guys time. There's still a lot of baseball to be played. Still a lot of baseball to be played. Mitch Garver has seen the ball well in drawing walks all day. Um, see if we get my man Tyler back here soon. But we're making the press, dog. We're making that press. We're staying in it. We got a couple get right games. Hopefully, we figure this thing out against Tampa, going back to be able to pad. But to just expect that we were going to completely run away from the Astros and the Rangers, I didn't think it was going to go down like that. We're going to have to fight. We're going to have to fight for everything that we got. And really, it's the best way to be able to make that happen. Best way to be able to make that happen. See if I got my man Ty back here. I see his video is up and working. See if we can get Law back on. Yes, sir. Oh, real quick, for those of you rocking with us in the chat, help us spread the word about this podcast. We're one of the few actual live interactive shows where we give a damn about the people who follow us because we hope that the people who follow us give a damn about us as well, too. Real fans talking real sports. Go on to our Facebook page, My Own ASAP. Help us spread the word about the podcast. Help us spread the word about the live broadcast. We are running a special promotion of through the end of July until the pennant race actually begins in August, where for you helping us spread the word, we are giving away a Julio Rodriguez Funko. And just in order to be able to be a part of that contest, just spread the word to 5 people. 5 people come and join and give us a listen, give us a like, give us a review. We'll get you down. We'll keep track of everything that's going on. And then, we hope that we could bless you with some Mariner swag to add to your collection for those of you rocking with us in Mariner Nation. If Texas Power Ranger wins, dog, just I don't know what we're gonna do, dog. We can't have the Rangers coming here and take over everything, mate. Oh man, looks like I got my man Ty back. You rocking with me, bro?
I think I'm back in the house, y'all. I think I'm back in the house. Burning it down a little bit. We put the fire out, got the extinguisher. I think we're good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just to catch you up, me and the chat was talking about the week that was, how Cleveland kind of took the heartbeat from us a little bit. Miami went through and just put the nail in us this week. The crazy stat that's been going around. saying that in the last 10 days, we've lost 40% of that lead that we've had in the American League West. And just to think that we were going to absolutely run away from Texas and the Rangers, I mean, yeah, from Texas and the Astros was just a little bit far fetched. You know, we still got a lot of work to do in order to be able to get up and get back right with them, dog. What you got to say about the topic?
Man, well, both those teams, in my opinion, are too talented to be 10, 8 games below 500 all year. You would have to expect them to bounce back. You get a lead like that. This is where fans are frustrated, though. It's because you got to handle your business. And so, my whole thing is I got no problem if you lose 2 out of 3 games at Cleveland. Because my stance in Major League Baseball is if you're a good team, you basically beat anybody 2 to 3 on your home turf, just like the Mariners have done to the Atlanta Braves and some other pretty good teams that have come out to the Pacific Northwest. The problem is then you got to get back at Miami. You got to get back at Tampa Bay. And obviously that did not happen. And so it's pretty tough. You know, right now it feels like something's always broken, man. When you're broke, there's something always wrong with your car. And that's what we're doing right now. So hopefully we can get it going here. You know, a lot of people are frustrated with Bryce Miller. I've kind of been on him a little bit lately too. A bit inconsistent. He is basically one full season, roughly or less, into his major league career. So let's just see how this thing plays out a little bit. But obviously, this team is incredible at home, and we are kind of shitty on the road, man. I don't know exactly how you fix that necessarily. And so I dove in because some people on social media were trashing Bryce Miller, and it's not like he's pitched well, about his home and road splits. But I looked at it, RG. The only Mariners starter with equal splits home and away is Logan Gilbert. The other 5 guys who have had starts this year have pretty drastic splits home and away. So we talk about T-Mobile Park being tough for guys to hit in, but it goes both ways. It's helping our pitchers pitch well also.
So for sure. One of the other conversations that we got into was talking about if we are looking to make a move, who is it that we look to make these moves with? There's always going to be the give and take of we have enough, we don't have enough. Let's not get rid of these guys. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
feel about prospects, they're suspects until they take a bat is actually in the major league. A couple comments that we had from the chat was we have Mariner Lifer who thinks that we should go that we should send Emerson and Cole Young for Vlad. Sunday Evening Media says we have France and Locklear at first base. We need help elsewhere. A lot of love for Bliss and what he's been able to do recently, and that he may have earned his playing time, and he may make it tough for Polanco when he comes back. Just catch the just catch the fan base up on what your thoughts are as we press forward on today's episode.
Well, shoot, that one's tough because right now it's like every time I want to trade somebody, the other dudes get hot. So I've been preaching corner outfield basically all year. I am really bummed out that I don't know if Mitch Haniger's that dude anymore. But Canzone's been hitting over 400 the past 2 weeks. Luke Rayleigh, you blinked and he is basically the best hitter on the team right now in totality. And so it feels pretty good right there, even though the Mariners could convince me that either of those guys cannot hit lefties. But how do we even know? Because they both have like 10 or 20 at bats facing a left handed pitcher. So I honestly don't know. But I have a laundry list of guys we could go after. And we've kind of been on this one for a minute now that we need more production out of first base. I'm a huge Tyler Locklear fan, but the bottom line is if he's not going to play, just send him down because there's no reason for a dude at 23 with this much potential to not be playing baseball and just sitting there on the bench not doing a damn. But Ty France has come back from his injury, dude, and is like 1 for 14. I mean, I'll give him a
Mm.
little bit of a leash. Jorge Polanco is hitting 300 with like a 1.2 OPS right now. Obviously, it's AAA. He is like a .379 career OPS hitter. He should be annihilating AAA. But my thoughts were because I see Mariners lifer here saying that he loves Bliss, especially on D. I couldn't agree more. We talked about it last week. I can't remember the last time a Mariner had that sort of range going to his right hand. Freaking awesome. So short term, maybe Polanco gets a little DH reps and maybe he plays some first base and we can go from there. But I'm definitely with you. Reinforcements are needed. The time is now. We're not going to be able to afford every one of these pitchers in 4 or 5 years. We might be able to afford like half of them. And I'm with you, man. Especially like if you have a deep farm system. You got 7 in the top 100. That doesn't include Felning Celestin, man. I'm with you, RG. You know I like prospects, but I also like them because that is how you can get major league quality players.
Absolutely, man. And I think it's going to take major league quality players to be able to get this thing done. Houston and the Rangers are going to start to get hot. They got Scherzer back, and he could, even at 40, man, he still might be able to go out and cause some problems and help them win a couple games that they shouldn't, just to inch us closer. And once you begin to hear those footsteps, we both are fans of golf. There's something about that Sunday where you got a three-stroke lead and you hear the people roaring because Tiger has just made his first birdie on the day. Hands start to get a little shaky. Hands start to get a little sweaty. So we are definitely going to get pressed as we get farther on in the year. And I think that we need major league talent to be able to help keep us above the pack.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I like a lot of the suggestions and ideas so far from the live comment chat line about trade ideas. And the thing is too is we have like 3 4 shortstops in the system, and so they're all going to block each other at some point. That's where you really want to cash in, when you have an excess at a certain position. Sunday evening media, we have France and Locklear at first base. Yeah, and I said that maybe if Polanco hits, throw him there as well. So everybody knows I'm a big Brent Roker guy. I could trade for him 5 days a week, even a top prospect, and not even lose a minute of sleep over that. And the dude wouldn't even be a free agent till 2028, man. Ty O'Neill, he is raking 2 gold gloves, but he's a rental player, upcoming free agent. Another guy I want to touch on, Ryan McMahon, third baseman from Colorado. Now, at the first time I heard about him, I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm not going for anyone from Colorado. So I dug a little deeper, RG, and the guy actually 14 home runs on the year, 7 at home, 7 on the road. And he is actually has a higher OPS on the road compared to Coors Field this year. So just seeing those splits made me feel much more comfortable. Back in our heyday with Andres Galarraga and Dante Bichette, Vinny Castilla, and those guys would be like 450 at home and like 220 on the road. So every time I see a Colorado dude come up, I get scared. So I looked it up and now I feel really good because his splits are equal. And then I've been talking about a bunch of Tampa Bay Rays, but I never brought up Isak Paredes because I thought that he was an unrealistic target. But Major League insiders Jeff Passan and JP Morosi both mentioned him this week as targets for the Mariners. And if those kind of guys are saying that that's a possibility, I would now believe it. I just figured a 280 hitter with an 11 bombs and an 824 OPS, he wouldn't be a free agent until 2028. I figure that guy's kind of untouchable. But I mean, in any walk of life, RG, everybody's got a price.
Man, a shout out to a new user that's joined us in the chat, Kevin Stephenson. Sorry, Stevenson. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name. He says send Ty France to San Diego for some spending money. Send Ty France back to where you played college ball at under the legendary Tony Gwynn and see if we can what is that they call our homeboy? Cash considerations, baby. See if they can go on ahead and get him, get us some cash to be able to help go after somebody. Look, man, whatever loosens up the way that Stanton won't let Jerry and Justin just have free reign of his money, I'm all for it, man. Even if it has to be Ty, baby. Even if it has to be Ty. Center Evening Media says Rainy Type France doesn't sound all that bad. It doesn't. Another friend of the show, Crazy Baseball Gal, she says about Ryan McMahon, he's hitting 217, 266, 243 in June with the WRC plus of 80, and that she's not exactly excited about that.
Mm.
Um, we have gone after so many. Let's hope that you could get here and be better than what you were a couple weeks ago, guys. That I'm not mad if we made a play for Mr. McMahon. Did you see the play he made this week at third base where he's out there getting his Brooks Robinson on and he's throwing people out from the third base coaching box? Just, just someone who could come in and help play some solid defense, get us a couple hits. I'm all for it. Again, it's just my job to look at the TV and yell. I don't really devil into so much of that. That's why we got the chat. That's why we got Ty Talks 24 representing, holding us down. But again, just we were promised that we would make some moves to keep us competitive if that's where we were at. And if you look at the National League standings, there's 10 teams in the hunt still in the National League. So there's going to be a lot of teams who are holding on to what they have. I mean, it's such a competitive race over there that it is going to limit some of who can and cannot be available as we move forward as well too. So it's just we gotta hope that Justin and Jerry have a couple magic cards up their sleeve and they could go out and go do something with us. I didn't like the Rojas trade, but we got him. Rojas starts the year on fire. So just it's baseball. It's baseball. It's such a long, grueling sport. Just because you were hot in June doesn't mean you'll be hot in July, August, and September. Just because you were struggling in the first part of the year doesn't mean that you'll struggle in the second part of the year. Something just clicked for some guys. Maybe everybody needs to go to drive line over the All-Star break and put in some work. But we are getting close to the break. Could the Reds be sellers this year? You know we love doing business with Cincinnati. We love doing business with Cincinnati. If they were going to be sellers, is there anybody on the top of your head? And I know this is just a one-off question. Anybody on the top of your head on Cincinnati, other than someone like De La Cruz, because Cincinnati is not going to let go of him, that you like over there that we could bring in to the Pacific Northwest?
Well, the major problem for me is is it Spencer Steer? Because I always get him confused. The ace pitcher is Spencer Strider from Atlanta.
Yes.
Spencer Steer was the stud first base rookie last year for Cincinnati, who De La Cruz rightfully got all the publicity and is the star. But if you looked at just pure hitting stats, Spencer Steer was better in every hitting statistic you could come up with last year besides stolen bases. The huge problem is it's another first baseman. So it's a really tough trade market right now because I talked about this in the offseason and I wasn't sure how much I truly believed it. But just looking at the basic economics of pro baseball right now, it feels like just by sheer numbers, there are more good pitchers than good hitters. So it's becoming harder to acquire good hitters. I felt like in our time when we were youngsters, dude, there was just every team bats and bats and bats. You have Mike Blowers batting seventh or eighth with like 25 bombs. That is just not happening in today's era. So we might need to, like you said, we might need our front office to be really savvy about this team. And I couldn't echo it and repeat you more. The owners across the league are going to have their front offices hold out longer. We talked a bunch this offseason about all the regional sports networks, those problems for revenue for these owners. You don't become a billionaire by not counting your pennies no matter how rich you are, and the gate revenue by having your team in it longer is real money that these owners and business side of teams, it's that shit they look at, man. So it's not going to be as easy as we think, but Lord knows, does anyone trade as much as Jerry Dipoto?
I'm telling you, man. And to answer your question, Kevin, too, Cincinnati happens to be one of those 10 teams in the National League that are still kind of in the hunt as well.
Ooh, I
So
like that.
they may they may be looking to hold on. Kevin does throw up third base Jameer Candelario, 14 home runs, 250 batting average. and an 803 OPS. Sounds kind of
It's
juicy, man.
funny. That's really funny. Kevin Stevenson, shout out, man, because I want to say it's Jaime because he's a Latino,
Hi,
but I was huge on his train last season at last year's trade deadline to bring him in. That's a really good call. I didn't know he ended up on Cincinnati. I wanted him as a
He's a
trade
Tiger,
candidate.
right?
Yeah, he
He was
was
a
on
Tiger,
two
right?
teams though last year.
Okay.
He was on so he's kind of been around the block a lot. I bet he's been like 3 teams 2 years kind of dude right now. But I really like that idea, and I don't know where everyone moves. I don't really want to move Josh Rojas off at third base just because of the way he's played the position from a fielding aspect. But we have to get more production out of this lineup consistently. Well, I mean, JP is locked in no matter how bad is he doing. Tell me I'm wrong, anybody, but I feel that JP, whether you like it or hate it, is locked in to that spot. Am I missing something there?
I love JP. I love JP before Cal started showing signs of the piss and vinegar, as you say, that's really in his soul. I really thought that JP was the captain of our team. So I'm not against anything with Mr. Crawford. I like Mr. Crawford the way he plays. I'm happy that he's a part of our team. He kind of I've always said that him being his acquisition is what kind of started this turnaround for us. And just so happy to have him in whatever capacity that he's in. I think he's a great top of the lineup guy. He may not have the power numbers that he had last year, but again, um, it's just we are going to have to break someone's heart in order to be able to get us what it is that we need. And I would love to be a fly in the wall in those meetings to hear who it is that they're looking at and what they're talking about. Shout out to Kevin again. Thank you for being active in the chat with us tonight. Anyone not named Julio Logan is expendable. Texas Power Ranger said, I'm a Ranger fan. If Kirby's expendable, we'll take him. Look, man, uh, fuck the Rangers. Nah, man, for real. We'll see, man. I think that all options are available at this point. It's interesting to see what they're looking at with also trying to balance how handcuffed they are from the guy who sits up above their head. And really, that's going to be what the kicker is in all of this. I think that we need to go after someone who we can have for a couple years, not someone that's just a rental. But if you went out and got me a 1 year rental and we ended up securing the division before we got to Labor Day, you won't hear a single complaint from me.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And sometimes when you do trade talks, you're kind of just blowing hot air, and we're all just trying to read the crystal ball. But we know for a fact the Mariners front office is trying to figure out how to get this thing done. I'm not going to say their jobs are on the line necessarily, but I wonder where Mr. Stanton's brain is at in terms of how long of a leash he's going to give this regime. I feel it's going to be pretty long, to be honest. Kind of one of those long leashes where you're worried the dog's going to run on the road and hit your truck, that sort of
Mm,
thing. But
mm.
there's a lot of guys out there though. There is, I mean, could we get a Jazz Chisholm? I really like that guy. I mean, he's got some pop. He's got an OPS. He is one of the best base runners in the league. 97th percentile in base running value. Are you kidding me? So moves are out there to be made. Can we make them? I'm kind of with you, dude. I'd be down to trade a little bit of the farm. I would add a couple players to Kevin's non-expendable list. But I get what he's saying. RG, is it maybe that time like where sometimes for a team to get over the top, they need to make a trade where they're just going to put tears in grown men's eyes on that ball club? It might be close to that time.
It is. It is. This is the best window that we've had to become a championship program. And who gives a damn if we're the 2019 Washington Nationals? They still have something that we don't know what it looks like, it tastes like. That's a
Mhm.
trip to the Fall Classic. And what are you playing for if you're not playing for a trip to the Fall Classic? Are we paying to keep the team profitable so we stay on top of the Forbes list and we pass Stanton's pockets? Or are we playing for the ultimate goal, and that's to see the Seattle Mariners playing in the last week of October? Jazz would be awesome to have. I thought that when he was standing on second base in today's game. Just
Didn't
how
you?
different, how better he would look, how better he would look in that Friday night City Connect uniform than any of that trash the Marlins have. But it also has frustrated me too how that organization could put together two magical seasons.
Mhm.
And 2 years after their first magical season, 3 years after their first magical season, sorry, 2001 is 4 years. 4 years after their first magical season, we go 4-1 against the Yankees and haven't really sniffed any playoff success since. Beating Toronto was cute. We choked that series away against Houston. No other way to say it. We choked that series away against Houston. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see us play again for a 7 game series and make it to the Fall Classic. It pains me to say that we aren't built to be able to make that happen currently how we stand. But I did also give a prediction at the beginning of the year where I think that we're really overachieving, and I didn't think that we would be this good coming
Mhm.
into the year. So I'm okay to be wrong. Robbie Ray threw Jordan Alvarez an early Christmas gift. Man, it wasn't an early Christmas gift, dog. He threw that man Thanksgiving dinner. He threw that man the St. Patty's Day bottle of Irish whiskey. He gave him the keys to the gate and said, "Here, just take it, man. Just take it." Admiral tight pants. Robbie Ray. Jeez.
Well, if that's a Christmas present for your Dom, man, then every Seattle Mariners fan got a giant ass lump of coal on that one, man. I don't know if you have heard this before, Sunday evening media. I've told this story a few times on air. I'm a UPS driver Monday through Friday. I still know exactly what address I was at. I almost fell to my knees in the middle of a residential road when Rick Riz was describing that walk-off bomb. I will never forget that moment, as shitty as it was for Mariners fans. I just want to go back to Jazz Chisholm for one more second, though. At 267, 10 home runs, and a 777 OPS this season. I already mentioned the 97th percentile in base running value, but this combination I love, dude. He's in the 81 percentile in barrel rate and the 83rd percentile in sprint speed. I mean, this is the kind of power speed combo. Okay, it's absolutely blasphemy that I'm going to say it. But we started off the show about the best power speed combo ever was Willie Mays. If Jazz Chisholm can be like 5% of that, man, that's a difference maker to try to get you to the World Series, man.
Preaching to the choir, man. You just sold me. No, I don't need a new hat, dog. You just wait until we get to September. Sunday evening media. You just wait until we get to September. Nah, I don't need a new hat, but I appreciate you paying attention to detail. Uh, they hate us because they ain't us, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Let's stick to baseball right now. Got months before we debate about my hat. Sunday evening media.
Oh, those will be some fun Sunday evenings, though.
Oh man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. We do talk more topics than just Mariner baseball here, but where we're at right now in the sports calendar season, we just want to lock in and talk about America's pastime. Did you get the chance to catch any of the game out of Rickwood this week?
I was unable to. It was basically over before I even got home from work that night. So I missed everything except for they blasted on social media that hilarious moment with Barry Bonds absolutely sure that he would annihilate Satchel Paige. And if he's on that thing that he was on when he was 36-year-old, I don't think there's any pitcher that could sneak one by that dude.
One of my favorite Barry Bonds moments is he's facing Eric Gagne, and Eric Gagne was on that same shit. and Eric Gagne throws him a 102-mile-an-hour inside fastball in his hands, and Barry Bonds hit it from L.A. up to San Francisco, and it wasn't even close. And it wasn't even close. Yeah, man. Got a question here from the chat. Have you guys watched any of the college baseball, the Stanley Cup? I have. I actually watched both of the College World Series games, and Texas A&M put it on them in Game 1. Tennessee was down 1-0, getting ready to fight for their lives. Got 2 home runs to break the game open, and now we're going to go into a decisive Game 3 to see who's going to get the marbles and bring the SEC another championship. Um, I remember being in falling in love with the College World Series back when it was in Rosenblatt Stadium. I think one of the sounds of summer is the peeing of the metals bats
Mm.
that they're still allowed to use in the NCAA. I'm not sure when they're going to finally make them jump to wood, but again, there's just something about watching those games and still hearing the peeing of that bat that takes you back to when we were playing. And just being able to relive some of those memories, some of the crowds that they get up for some of those games. And just, I love the College World Series, man. It's good to see those guys fighting for their chance to get a chance to be in. I am from Albuquerque. Alex Bregman's LSU team had a tremendous run, and that guy became a superstar around here. It's just unfortunate he became an Astro and then became a cheater. But we'll talk about that in another day. The Stanley Cup, man, just has been so interesting to watch. I really thought it was over when we got to Game 4,
Yeah.
and the Panthers have just completely disappeared. That team looks like they are like the moment has gotten way too bright for them, and they may be the second team in history to ever blow a 3-0 lead in the championship round. I believe the game is tomorrow on your local ABC affiliate. For those of you who are fans of hockey or you've never seen it played before, give tomorrow night a shot. The game is fast. The game isn't like old school hockey is, where you might be sitting there bored out of your mind. The action is very high paced. These guys are looking to score. It's going to be, and it's for a championship, a winner take all for a championship. If you're a sports fan, you love those 2 words, Game 7, and we actually have one tomorrow. Who else blew a 3-0 game lead? So you're going to have to go back to the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs for the answer to
Oh,
that Sunday evening media. They are the only other team in professional sports in the championship round who has blown a 3-0 lead. Um, Somebody would say you're forgetting the Red Sox. Again, the Red Sox Yankees was for the American League pennant. It wasn't for the World Series. In a
mm.
championship series, only one team has ever blown a 3-0 lead, and that is the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm patting myself on the back. Yep, 82 years. 82 years. You're right. I'm going to pat myself
Dude,
on the
that's a
back one
great
for that
pull.
one.
That's a great
Yeah.
pull. I got a question
Yes,
for
sir.
you then, RG. I think you might know it then. Has Edmonton won a Stanley Cup since the Gretzky Messier era? No. Okay. Well, I've been rooting for them the whole time. Obviously, for those that don't know,
Or
I'm a
actually,
Seattle homer all the way,
before I say that, I
but
need to see who won the cup in '93, because that was the last time a team from Canada has won the Stanley Cup, was back in 1993, and it
it's
could
been
have
that
been,
long.
yeah,
Oh
been
my
since
god.
1993 since a team from Canada has won the Stanley Cup. So let me make sure that that wasn't the no, that was the Canadiens. That was the Montreal Canadiens. They were the last team
Okay.
from Canada to win the Stanley Cup in '93. But nah, Edmonton has not tasted that sweet victory since they let Messier and the Great One go.
Well, I'm a ride with Edmonton. I couldn't cheer for a Florida hockey team anyways. That just feels kind of dirty. I'm from the Northwest, man, and so we all know what happened to all the Canadian hockey teams. It kind of took almost all of them. So I've been riding with Edmonton. The thing that sucks for me though, man, is considering that both are East Coast teams or East Coast time zones at least, is those games are over by the time I even get home from work right now. So that's why it's always nice that there's at least one West Coast team in a championship
Mhm.
series just for my viewing pleasure.
Yeah, I love it when they actually have geographical teams where they're supposed to be. When I was a kid, I couldn't figure out for the life of me why the Atlanta Braves were in the NL West. Couldn't figure that out for the life of me. And even though I think it's one of the better rivalries in sports, I don't understand why Dallas is in the NFC East. But
Yeah.
again, we'll uh we'll leave that debate for another day when we get closer to September. It's still baseball season for now. Yeah, so we have paid attention to that, and thank you for those of you rocking with us in the chat, bringing those questions to us. Again, we live each and every Sunday. You can find us on the live broadcast here on YouTube. Shout out to those of you that are following us on Twitch as well. Once this show is over, you can download the podcast on your favorite podcast platforms each and every Tuesday, no later than Wednesday. Big shout out to Vaden Podcast Services for all that they do in helping us spread this great show to the masses.
Hell yeah, man. I don't know if you touched on this. You probably did. I was having headphone problems and mic problems until I got it all switched out. But for y'all that don't know, RG was the first person. He was way ahead of his time. Now we're all on the Logan Gilbert, the ace train. But this dude was 2 years ahead of that shit. I'm not joking. It's true. But the dude was dominant again. I got to give him his flowers. 8 innings pitched, no earned runs, 6 Ks, one walk, 4 hits. I mean, are you shitting me? Social media, we've been extremely upset as a group about pulling him out of that game. But one thing we got to realize is that Logan Gilbert has pitched more innings than any other pitcher in baseball this year. It's a new day and age. I hate it when I see old heads saying that these pitchers are soft because they're not. I'm not going to get on that train. And I'm the type of dude, born in 1984. We were idolizing Nolan Ryan and Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez, but I can't get on that train to just diss these current pitchers based on how incredible Nolan and Randy and those type of dudes were. Different era, times change, and I would also say those guys are some of the greatest outliers ever. How they could pitch so many innings every game for so many years. Those guys were incredible.
Shout out to friend of the program, Texas Power Rangers says that they need a Logan Gilbert in their future. Don't worry, you're gonna get a Logan Gilbert in your future. I believe I believe it's September 12th, 13th, and 14th and 15th as we're coming through September to go on ahead and wrap up the AL West. You gonna get you some Logan Gilbert, so don't you worry about that. You're gonna get you a good healthy dose of LOG the OG.
I mean, he really is. He's put himself in the Cy Young candidate list. And if y'all listen to me enough, I don't even write down win loss records anymore for pitchers because it's such a team stat. And I think Mariners fans above everyone should feel me on that. I mean, Felix Hernandez won his one and only Cy Young award with a 13-12 record back in 2010. It's about like how much do you dominate? How often do you give your team a chance to win? Logan Gilbert's first in quality starts. He's tied for second in whip. He's first in innings pitched, and he's 10th in ERA. My God, I'm going to vote him in for president.
Second that notion. I second that notion. I took some heat back when during the magical 20 during the magical playoff run where I thought that he should have started the first game against Toronto. And everybody was ape shit about, we start Castillo. He's our ace. It was all, dude, Logan has been the dude that's been here performing. And here we are now, you know, I would love to see Castillo be able to get right, but Logan is the dude that's been just unbelievable for us. And he's going to make you a believer. For those of you who rock with and participate in voting for the All Star game, when you blow out a vote, make sure you blow one out for OG, the LOG, the OG, man. He deserves to be a part of the Midsummer Classic this year. I just think he's been that good for us.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And to be honest, there's a lot of people within the Mariners organization that is imploring fans to get out there and vote. But honestly, I don't feel any of our position players deserve to be on the All Star team. But I could give you three or four pitchers that I could put on there. So we'll see what happens. Bottom line is this has been a disappointing week so far. We gotta pull ourselves up, dust off that losing shit, and get after Tampa Bay. They might have a losing record, but we both know, RG, this team is a pain in the ass.
Such is life, my friend. Such is life. For those of you who were late to the beginning of the broadcast, a wonderful tribute video to the legendary Willie Mays was put together by the wonderful staff at Vaden Podcast Services, and we want you to be able to see it and see his work. So we are going to end the show with that video being played, and just to make sure that we do our part to give that man his flowers. Speaking of giving a former Mariner his flowers, to transition into this, we did miss last week two things. First of all, happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there in the world who were handling their business and taking care of their families and doing things that just help make the world a better place. We give a shout out to you. We also want to make sure that we give a shout out, going back through the thread here because I don't want to mispronounce it. It was on the tip of my tongue. Of course, I can't think about it, so I'm going through our production notes just to see if I can find it again real quick. Mike Brumley. Mike Brumley, former Mariner player, former Mariner hitting coach, unfortunately lost his life last week in a car accident at age 61. Um, you just never know when your time is going. And even though he did bounce around from teams during his playing career, he was a pretty well respected hitting coach. And Austin Riley of the Braves is probably the name that he had worked most with recently. And Austin even had a conversation with him the weekend before he passed after struggling in a series. And he told him, you just got to put this in God's hands, man, and just rely on your talent and rely on your faith and get out there and do what it is you know to be done and to live your life that you have an impact on others. That just can't be said enough. My Uncle John, who has had a great career working for the NFL as a player and a scout as a coach and the head of the French Pollard Alliance, always tells me that there's nothing more important in this world than the people in it. So sometimes we just need to stop, take a breath. And yes, there's some people who make it tough for you to get along with them. But in the grand scheme of things, there's more who are like us than not like us. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, no pun intended. Uh, but again, just you never know when it's your time. So take those extra moments to just make sure that the people you know and care about around you make sure that they feel the same way and get a chance to say things that you might not have a chance to say tomorrow. But rest in peace um, to the former Mariner hitting coach there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when it comes up with that situation right there, I just want to kind of remind people I'll never have a problem if you are out here saying this guy's batting average sucks. He's striking out too much. I get that, you know, but keep it between the lines, you know. These people have families, they have friends, they have coworkers. I'm sure there's a countless number of people who care deeply about Mr. Brumley, and I honestly didn't even remember him as a Mariners player until the organization sent out those RIP notices on all social media platforms. So, to anybody who is grieving a loved one, including the Brumley family, we just want to say that our hearts go out to you. Grieving is a process, and lean on the people in your life. RG said it so eloquently. This life is about the people in it, and lean on those in these tough times, but definitely my heart goes out to the Brumley family. And when we are talking about these guys, keep it between the lines because most of these people are decent people, and we really only hear about their shit off the field. If they do something bad, when they're just regular family men, they kind of go by the wayside. So rest in peace, Mr. Brumley.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Mr. Kevin Stevenson says the single dad thanks and salutes you. Hey, man, shout out to you for doing your thing, dog. If you do both jobs, then next year I'll make sure I tell you Happy Mother's Day too. For sure, man. Need more people raising good people in this world. Sunday Evening Media says R.I.P. Mariner for Life says people treat pro athletes like they aren't human, and it's sad. You know, we get caught up in sports loyalty, and especially in the influx of gambling that is taking over the four major leagues, where you got people sliding in other people's DMs, just telling them horrible, vile, just terrible shit. Um, I used to do customer service for an airline, and I'm telling you, dog, I was probably the least suited person to do customer service for an airline. I got no problem smiling and helping you out, but when you get to talking to me like I'm the root cause of your problem, I would just simply tell you if I wasn't wearing this badge and wasn't standing behind this desk, would you be that reckless to talk to me like that? Because in real life, dog, I might put the pause on you, and that'd be the end of that conversation, homie, for sure. So let's not take it over. Just be okay with accepting the fact that you're the one who made a bad read that day. And sometimes the guy you pick doesn't get his 6.5 strikeouts. That's just part of the nature of the beast, man. They don't build those major casinos based upon people who win there all the time. I'm telling you, Joe.
Oh, Texas Power Ranger, you got me laughing right there, saying gambling brings you joy, but only 1 out of 1,000 times. That sounds like a true sports fan to me.
But that 1 out of 1,000 times could be the bag, dog. Could be us getting to the bag. Could be us getting to the bag. So as we move forward, have they announced? I believe that they announced the starting rotation that we're going to rock with when we embark on these games in Tampa. We got Brian Wu, 3-1, 1.67 ERA, going against Taj Bradley on Monday. And then we're going to have Castillo going against Little, Littell. I'm just gonna call him Little. I don't give a damn who he is. He's an op right now, so I don't care if I disrespect your name. We need to come in there and handle business. One name that we didn't mention in the trade talks that a lot of people were kind of on and off during the off season is Randy Arozarena. Where do you feel about him right now, Tyler, with what he's done this year? Chat, how do you feel about us leaving Tampa with having a little discussion with Mr. Rosenreina?
Absolutely not. And it's so this is how crazy baseball is though, because if you asked me last year during the season or during the World Baseball Classic, I would have been, oh hell yeah. But this dude is really struggling below 200. I believe his OPS is way down in the 600s. The Mariners aren't in a position to try to find another reclamation project, even though that kind of seems like it's their MO, dude.
That's what we do best. It seems to be what we do best. Just throwing the name out there. I'm not an advocate of his. I just like you said, it's always interesting to me how we could all be big on a guy or all not be so sold on him. Um, we really look like we dropped the ball with Teoscar Hernandez, but who's to say that he would have done the things in a Mariner jersey this year that he's doing for the Dodgers right now? Kelnick has a nice batting average, but he has Jared Kelnick numbers, and I'm still okay with the fact that we moved on from the Jared Kelnick experience. Um, Baseball's just one of those things, dog. Baseball's one of those things. Tell us what you think. We're still live and interactive with our people on Twitch and YouTube here for My Oh My. It's another sports podcast.
Okay, RG. We're speaking about Tampa Bay, and there's good reason to, because Tampa Bay and Seattle have made a shitload of trades together during the Jerry regime. We already talked about Isak Paredes, who I'd be all over getting him. I'd be thrilled. He will take some big time prospects, though. We just talked about a Rosa Arena. Yandy Diaz. Yandy Diaz is interesting to me, except he's yet another first baseman at 31. I remember him last year, especially because the Mariners coming down the home stretch. We really needed to get a couple wins on an East Coast swing. And he has like a walk-off homer and a walk-off double in back-to-back games, just breaking our hearts. He's been pretty good this year on the surface, dude. He's hitting 271 with 6 home runs and a 715 OPS, which is pretty good. But I see an alarming trend when I looked at it a little closer for Yandy. In 22, he had a 401 on base percentage. In 2023, 410. Oh my God. But this year, dude, it's down to 331, and he's now at age 31. Is this a fluke or is this a trend? I'd be a little worried. And once again, like some of these guys mentioned in the chat, there is kind of a gluttony of first baseman DH types for the Mariners right now. I would have to get like a Vlad Jr. significant upgrade to make me want to go that positional route. But we might get so desperate it doesn't matter the position. We just got to find someone that can hit.
Got it. I got it. I got it figured out. Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Yeah.
We make a play for Benny and the great Hambino. We can give them both Mitches and Emerson Hancock. Make it happen, Jerry.
but Benny and the Jets.
My man Kevin Stevenson says we trade prospects for Diaz and trade Garver for a reliever. Yeah. Again, I'm okay with most ideas that people come up with. I just want to see us get somebody or get whatever pieces it takes to make sure that we are playing for the AL pennant. That's all I want to see. I don't care who we got to give up. I don't care whose feelings we got to hurt. We got rid of motherfucker Jones, and it took me like 3 weeks to get over that. But I was okay with it because I thought that we was going to end up making a push to finally make the playoffs. And then once we fell one game short, I was throwing shit over in the truck, dog. I don't care who we have to move to be able to get who it is that we need. I personally don't care if it's a 1 year rental. I want to see the Mariners play for the right to go to the World Series. And I'm not going to accept any moves that don't get us there. If we who was it that the Braves chased down? Because what was it? They were a sub 500 team the year that they most recently won the World Series. Um,
Mhm.
you got the Cardinals from a couple years ago who had that epic collapse in September. I don't want to see us come up in one of those once we get there. Tension is just high and we're all ready to fight each other on whatever social media platforms that you talk to other Mariner fans in. I can tell you right now, if this league is any shorter, Bleacher is going to burn down. And I already got my pitchfork ready to go. You just gotta tell me when we meeting. Well, yeah,
Yo,
man, I just want to see us do it. I just want to see us do it.
I got a couple of guys I want anyone on the chat line chime in because I'm curious about your thoughts. These are two names thrown around. Lane Thomas, outfielder from Washington Nationals. I am a no because he feels like he's just an exact carbon copy of Rayleigh and Canzone, which we already have. We need a little bit of different flavor, a different bit of skill set than that. But the guy that I feel is really enigmatic to me, and I don't even know how to figure him out. I don't even know what his trade value is Bo Bichette, who is rumored to be on the trade block. He was fantastic for his first full 3 seasons, 21 through 23. He led the league in hits 2 of those 3 seasons. He is at basically a good player to all-star war that entire time. I mean, we're talking 298, 290, 306. His OPS was over 800 each of those years. I mean, what an absolute stud. But this year, he's hitting 237 with a 629 OPS and a negative point .1 WAR. I thought this guy was awesome. I thought he was a future perennial All Star, which he still might be. Would you guys take a gamble on can he bounce back and be the player he was his first full 3 seasons? Or did the pitchers figure him out 3, 4 years into his career?
My man, Sunday Evening Media says, Boba shit, Nova shit. I'll read an article here that I was reading on Bleacher Report. The Mariners have a pitching staff that is capable of leading to a title run, but they need, but they will need to upgrade an offense that ranks near the bottom in league of the league in team OPS 667 and runs per game 3.89. A corner outfielder looks like the most obvious potential upgrade, but expect team president Jerry to bring his usual outside the box thinking to the trade markets. Uh, why? See, we've had talks about this on previous shows. Seattle's not a city that's hurting for money. Our owners' pockets aren't hurting. The revenues, the remodel that they did to the stadium has brought in some people to go up there and spend some dollars buying some drinks and paying for the place across the street. I screamed about the root deal. How do you let Warner Brothers Discovery just stick you with the bag? But why is that hindering us being able to put together a product that can compete for the pennant? Make a move. Make a move. It didn't have we weren't giving Otani $700 million, and if that's what that cost, God
No.
bless that man and God bless the Dodgers. Fuck out of here. We need to make a move, and it's obvious to people watching us that we're two bats away from being able to separate ourselves from our division, be able to try to run down one of the top two spots in the playoff hunt to avoid having to overwork our pitching staff to get through the wild card run and just finally bring that magical paint on the field that when someone walks through the turnstiles at T-Mobile Park, they look down and they say, "Oh, that's what it looks like when they're setting this place up for a World Series." We're close, man. We're really close. We got talented arms. And yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm not gonna knock Miller for having one bad game today. That guy's been good for us. Woo's gonna be good tomorrow. We need Castillo to get right, is what we need. We need him to just go back to finding a way to take over and stop finding so much of the damn plate. We need Castillo to get right. OG, the LOG, he's gonna do what he does. Kirby's young and getting older as well, too, man. Just he's gonna mature. Our pitching staff is gonna be what it is. And God forbid if we can just hold out a couple more weeks, we might get some arms back in the bullpen so we don't have to live through the bombing experience every other game. It's good times are coming. Good times are coming. Don't sell us in yet. Just make us good, man. Make us good.
Hell yeah. Man, I'm getting kind of amped up about everything, and it's because we're hungry. If you're a Mariners fan, you're starving, man. We are. I've said it before with little Timmy with our hat out, man. Can you please feed us? Mariners lifer asking us what Dante, aging myself right there. What would Bo Bichette cost? And this is why I brought him up as an enigmatic trade person because I have no idea what he would really cost because are you getting the guy with a 814 OPS last year or a 629 OPS this year? Track record says that he's got 3 damn good years and 1 clunker so far. So Toronto's probably going to ask for Cole Young or Cole Emerson, but I'm countering if I'm Seattle. I don't know if I want to give up those two guys for him because I want someone more like a Vlad Jr. or a Brent Roker or a Ty O'Neill or a Ryan McNabb. I want someone who is actually hitting this year. I know you, RG Renfrew, a listener, was saying that McMahon has had a shitty month of June. I can't argue that. The stats are the stats. Those That's what they say they are. But to me, that says what a year he's had so far. If a shitty June has brought him down to 280 for Pete's sakes, we wish we had someone that would come down to 280. We're praying anyone could get up to 280. I'm gonna reference we were talking about the Marlins earlier though, RG. And there's one trade that's always stuck out to me, and it's when there's actually a win-win, and it was a blockbuster, and it helped the Boston Red Sox win a World Series, and they Boston traded Hanley Ramirez for Josh Beckett. Josh Beckett, proven ace, you know, World Series winner for the Marlins. They traded a superstar middle infielder and it worked. You know, if we trade Cole Young or Cole Emerson and they become a superstar in the future, but it lands us that critical piece to get you over the top for the World Series, do it 100 out of 100, damn it.
Man, just I still remember listening to that '03 World Series, and the Marlins were rolling. Yankees counter with Andy Pettit. Pettit, for all intents and purposes, was, I'm telling you, dude, that probably the most underrated pitcher that the Yankees have had in the last 20 years. Pettit was the man. Then Florida counters again with Beckett, and there was nothing that the Yankees could do about it.
Hmm.
That trade goes down, and it's like they're building something. And don't forget another trade that Boston made to help them get that '04 championship when they fleeced the Seattle Mariners for Jason Varitek, Derek Lowe, for Heathcliff's fucking Slocum. The worst trade. The worst trade. And what was the story you were telling me about that? Boston calls and they say either or, and we said, fuck it, you can have them both. To
Yeah,
watch that be
that's
the
what Urban Legend
battery,
says.
yeah, to watch that be the battery that gets the final out and watch them dance and celebrate. Just, I'm tired of watching former Mariners do the thing. I felt the same way, even though I don't think by himself he could have done nothing to carry that 2016 team, but to see Mike Montgomery even get a ring with the Cubs, just I'm tired of watching other Mariners be able to have one. Why can't we just pull the trigger and make this thing happen for us, dog? That's all I want.
Oh hell yeah. It's kind of fun because you can look at history to kind of predict what might happen in the future. Sunday evening media, great question. Who is that piece that puts us over the top? And this is why I don't want a guy like Lane Thomas. We we don't need more ho hum hitters where they might be average or they might be shitty. But I'm going to start off by saying the pieces that we need to put us over the top, we need Julio to slug. We need Polanco to hit doubles. We need Mitch Haniger to at least provide something. It's kind of scary when Canzone and Luke Rayleigh are leading the squad right now. We need JP to at least be old JP. I don't even need 20 home run JP, but we need him to get rolling. I'm gonna say we need a Paredes, we need a Vlad Jr., a Ryan McMahon, a Ty O'Neill, or a Brent Roker. I would love to get two of those. I don't think our front office will dish out that many prospects to go that route. So maybe we need to get a little bit creative here. I've seen you guys on the chat line mention possibly trading Emerson Hancock, maybe a Bryce Miller. Then my question is to get through the season to win the AL West and put us in a good position to make a postseason run. Do you guys feel that a Jonathan Diaz or a Dallas Keuchel can come up and at least be a fifth starter worth enough salt that it's not a giveaway game that devastates your bullpen for the entire week? If you think the answer is yes, maybe we should trade one of those Hancock or Miller type of guys because there's some value in those guys that maybe we can let go of. But me and RG are on the same boat that we got the prospects, we got money in the bank, man. Freaking spend it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. There's no joy in being the richest guy in the cemetery. So go on ahead and live once a little bit and just do what you have to do. But show that you give a damn about this team. You don't got to go Cohen crazy, but just show that you give a damn about this team and spend some money to get it in, man. You spend some money to get it in. Um, Final thoughts, man. Final thoughts for tonight's episode as we get ready to wrap this thing up.
Well, we started because, in my opinion, the greatest baseball player ever had passed away. A huge part of that is because he was my dad's favorite, and I grew up in the house of Willie Mays and Jimi Hendrix, you can say. And it was really special. It was really special to go to the Kingdom with my dad and my grandpa and my brother. We got to see Ken Griffey Jr. play so much, and my dad and my grandpa would always tell us that this guy, Ken Griffey Jr., is the closest thing you'll ever to see to Willie Mays. I will be 40 Thanksgiving this year, and they are still absolutely correct. And huge shout out to the Mays family, anyone connected to the Giants or anyone like that. He is an icon for many reasons, and I just want to say thank you because, in a weird way, he kind of connected our family together in a weird spider web sort of way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a man who lived his life to the fullest, got the most out of it, cared about the people who he was around. I love the videos of him playing stickball with the kids out in the street, just not too big on who he was, and just understood that baseball brings people together, man. I think that baseball brings people together unlike any other sport that's out there because someone who doesn't have to look like a superhero can go out there and play it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is a game for everyone. It brought us together. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thanks for those of you who've been rocking with us in the chat. Don't forget, help us spread the word. We're here each and every Sunday live on Twitch and YouTube. We are one of the most interactive shows that you could find. We care about the people interacting with us because we do this for you, and without you, none of this can be possible. For those of you who didn't get a chance to see that tribute, we are going to run it on YouTube and Twitch as we close out this podcast. A wonderful job done by Vading Podcast Services to put that together. Our super producer, Indy, controlling the ones and twos all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Don't forget, help us spread the word. Win some Mariner swag, giving away a Julio Rodriguez Funko. All you got to do is go to our Facebook, recommend us to some friends, help us get some likes, help us get some eyes, tell everybody that we're here. And for those of you that have been with us, come back and talk baseball with us. Come back and talk baseball with us. Next week, a friend of our show, someone who's been with us from the beginning from the Bleacher Report community, Mr. Jerry B6, is going to be live rocking with us, giving us his thoughts about the week that was, while all of us are staying true to the blue. Again, we thank each and every one of you for rocking out with us. Don't forget that you can download this episode Tuesday, Wednesdays on your favorite podcast platforms, whether it be Spotify or Apple. I prefer to like Apple. Don't forget to give us a like, follow us on all of our socials. My oh my ASP. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. A lot of good content that we're putting out there. A special shout out to our social media coordinator, Katie Matsumoto. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for helping us keep eyes on the show and the program. Again, thank you for all of you that have been tapping in with us live here on the program. Don't forget to find us each and every Sunday. That's your man, Ty Talks 24, rocking with us all the way out there in the Pacific Northwest. I'm that dude, RG. This is Baden Podcast Services presents My Oh My. It's another sports podcast. Let's go on ahead and rock you out with another shout out to the legend that was, is, and ever will be one of the greatest to ever do it, to say, hey, kid, Willie Mays. We'll see you next week.
I arrived in New York City on a Friday at 4 o'clock, scared to death with 3 bats in my little briefcase, my glove. I didn't have a uniform. I didn't have a hat. Leo said to me, son, as long as I'm manager, you are my center fielder. You do not have to hit. Just go out and catch the ball. And from those words from Leo DeRocha, I think, gave me a little courage. And I went on from there.